Okay na. Sige na. Okay, okay. Please rise for the singing of the national anthem.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiliw, sa manlulupig, di ka masisingil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong baka, may nilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kisap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nanginginig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang may magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng marangit pagsikta, kulay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mamapit, ang namatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Please remain standing for a minute of prayer and meditation. Majority Leader, session suspended. Session resumed. Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move that we call the roll of members.
any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Roll call of members, honorable representatives. Abaya. Abayon. Abellanosa. Abu. Abueg. Acharon. Akop. Acosta. Acosta Alba. Adjong. Advincula. Agaraw. Agabaw. Aglipay Bilyar. Albano. Alcala. Alejano. Almario. Almonte. Alonte. Alvarez Franz. Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbizon, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagaw, Bagaching, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batucabe, Bautista Bandigan, Belaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertis, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bulilia, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Maravida, Brosas, Bulut Bektang, Kagas, Kalalang, Calderon, Calixto Rubiano, Caminero, Campos, Kanama, Kari, Casilaw, Castelo, Casa Franz, Casa Fred, Katamko, Cayetano, Celeste, Serafica, Cirilles, Chavez, Chipeco, Coanco, Collantes, Cortés, Cortuna, Cosalan, Crisólogo, Cuba, Cuaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, De Vera, Defensor, Del Mar, Del Rosario, De Losa Montalia, Dimaporo Abdullah, Dimaporo Khalid, Duavit, Durano, D, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ibardone, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Fer Luis, Feriol, Floirendo, Flores, Fortuno, Fentebella, Garbin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose, Garcia Albano, Gary Richard, Gary Sharon, Gasataya, Gachelian, Heron, Guana Cristina, Gomark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Goriseta, Gulyas, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Halusos, Javier, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lasatin, Liachon, Lee, Lim Kay Chong, Lubrigat, Lopez Benhur, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel, Loyola, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mangododato Suarto, Mangododato Sajid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Miliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Nolasco, Nunez Maleñaon, Waminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Vini, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Primicia Sagabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramirez Sato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Robapuno, Robes, Rocamora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sangkopan, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar, Sevillano, Sema, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Swansing Estrelita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez, Si Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Shirney, Tejada, Teves, Chanco, Ting, Tiño, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, T, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Uy Barreta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Vilarte, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villaferte, Villanueva, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Villago, Yap Arthur, Yap Milesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Samora Marcamen, Samora Ronaldo, Sarate, Subiri. The speaker is present. Mr. Speaker, the roll call shows that 214 members responded to the call.
With 214 members responding to the call, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve the journal of the previous session.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
May I request for a 1-minute suspension to allow the Secretary General to distribute the copies of the minutes of the previous session. So moved.
Session suspended. Session resumed.
Mr. Speaker,
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we forego the approval of the journal of the previous session and wait for the final copy. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we go to the reference of business. So
Any
moved, Speaker.
objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Reference of business bills on first reading, House Bill 7980, renewing for another 25 years and expanding the franchise granted to RT Broadcast Specialist Philippines, Inc., Representatives Nograles,
To the
Carlo,
Committee on
Maxine,
Legislative
Carlos John.
Franchise,
House Bill 7981, requiring all broadcast media networks
to the
devote.
Committee on Public Information,
House Bill 7982, reforming the corporate income tax
to the Committee on
incentives.
Ways and Means,
House Bill 7983, lowering the optional retirement age of public school
to
teachers.
the Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization,
House Bill 7984, providing for the Magna Carta for the
to the
environment,
Committee on
Natural
Natural Resources,
House Bill 7985, promoting rural health by providing.
to the Committee on Health,
House Bill 7986, establishing an education committee
to
in
the
every
Committee on
barangay.
Basic Education and Culture,
House Bill 7988, establishing a branch of the PUP
to the Committee on
Cabiao
Higher
Galicia.
and Technical Education,
House Bill 7989, converting the Nabitasan
to the Committee on
Elementary
Basic
School.
Education,
Resolutions, House Resolution 2038,
to the
urging
Committee
the
on
DILG
Public Order
coordination.
and Safety,
House Resolution 2039, urging the committees on
to the
local
Committee on
government.
Rules,
House Resolution 2040, directing the Committee on Ways and
to the
Means
Committee on
inquire into-
Rules,
House Resolution 2041, directing the Committees on Labor and Employment.
to the
and Human
Committee on
Rights.
Rules,
House Resolution 2042, directing the Committee
to
on
the
Labor and
Committee on
Employment.
Rules,
House Resolution 2043, directing the Committee on Labor and
to the
Employment.
Committee on Rules,
House Resolution 2044, directing the Committee on Human Rights.
To the
to
Committee on
investigate
Rules.
821. House Resolution 2045, directing the Committee on Human Rights to
to the
investigate May
Committee on
26.
Rules,
House Resolution 2046, directing the Special Committee on Basis Conversion
to the Committee on
investigate the
Rules,
flooding. House Resolution 2047, entering into the
to
records
the
of
Committee
House
on
proceedings.
Rules,
House Resolution 2048, directing the Committee
to
on
the
Overseas
Committee on
Workers
Rules,
Affairs. House Resolution 2049, condemning the strongest possible terms
to the
the
Committee
bomb
on
attack.
Public Order and Safety,
House Resolution 2050, directing the House Committee
to
on
the
Local
Committee on
Government.
Rules,
House Resolution 2051, congratulating, commending
to the
People's
Committee on
Champ.
Rules,
House Resolution 2052, directing the Committee on Civil Service.
to the Committee on
inquire to-
Rules,
House Resolution 2053, urging the COA to
to
create
the Committee on
utilities.
Appropriation,
House Resolution 2054, urging the House
to the
stop
Committee on
inflation.
Trade and Industry,
House Resolution 2056, expressing the position of
to
the
the
House.
Committee
that
on
the
Rules,
Communications, letter dated June 29, Office of the
to
Executive
the
Director.
Committee on Welfare of Children,
Letter dated July 4, General Manager, Philippine Ports Authority.
to the Committee on Transportation,
Letter dated July 5, Chief Maintenance Division, Regional, DPWH.
to the Committee on Public Works and Highways,
Letter dated July 5, OIC, Deputy Administrator, Finance.
to the Committee on
LRTA.
Appropriation,
Letter dated July 5, Secretary of Social Economic Planning.
to the Committee on Economic Affairs,
Letter dated July 6, Presidential Advisor.
to the Committee on
PLLO.
Appropriation,
Letter dated July 6, PLLO.
to the Committee on Appropriation,
Letter dated 9 July, Director for Finance
to the Committee on
Planning.
Appropriation,
Letter dated July 10, Chief of Staff, AFP.
to the Committee on National Defense and Security,
Letters dated 9 and 23 July 2018.
to the
Acting
Committee on
Deputy
Banks
General.
and Financial Intermediaries,
Report on enrolled bills, House Bill numbers 927, 3169, 3986, 4166, 4946.
to the Committee on Rules,
Committee reports, report number 808 by the Committee on Social Services and
to the Committee on
Appropriations.
Rules,
Report number 809 by the Committee on Local Government.
to the Committee on Rules,
Report number 810 by the Committee on Basic
to
Education.
the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Speaker, before we go to the unfinished business, with leave of the House, I would like to move that we tackle administrative matters, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
First, Mr. Speaker, I would like to acknowledge the guests or the beneficiaries of the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program from the District, Tondo, Manila, who are here today to observe the plenary deliberations. May I acknowledge Mr. Agnasin Erlinda, Miss Erlinda Agnasin, Tarsilia Alonte, Betty Amen, Crestita Arcilia, Anjale Awayan, Victoria Babon, Rodeline Batolan, Nida Carillo, Cheryl Castor, Violeta Cruz, Josephine Frango, Marites Losinicio, Rosalie Marco, Milagros Noble, Vilma Roldan, Maria Victoria Sanico, Alex Talento, and Soledad Tapiador, all guests of Congressman Manuel Luis Lopez, representative 1st District, the City of Manila.
The guest of Congressman Manuel Luis Lopez is recognized. Please rise. Welcome to the House of Representatives.
Likewise, we'd like to acknowledge the guests who are from 25 Barangay Council, Purok leaders and other officials of Barangay Linasin, San Marcelino, Zambales, who are as follows: Punong Barangay Gerald Cababaro, Kagawad Mila del Rosario, Kagawad Ferdinand Rasumadero, Kagawad Ramon Frede Luces, Kagawad Johnny Inocencio, Kagawad Lareto de Guzman, Kagawad Dani Resumadero, Kagawad George Cosme, SK Chairperson Florence Cobardo, Barangay Treasurer Ariay Ribaino, Barangay Secretary Angelo Resumadero, Purok Leader Oscar Padilla, Purok Leader Dionisia Monje, Purok Leader Richard Quemquem, Purok Leader Sheila Grace Obre, Purok Leader Priscilla Gesalan, Purok Leader Marilu Cosme, Peso Coordinator Annalyn Payumo, Daycare Worker Brenda Bailon, Daycare Worker Ofelia Antonio, Administrative Assistant Romulo Cababaro, and VAWC Erica Grande. Guests of Congressman Jeffrey Konghun, Mr. Speaker.
Please rise. Welcome to the House of Representatives.
Likewise, Mr. Speaker, Office of the Speaker is in receipt of a letter from Congressman Reynaldo Umali expressing his intention to join the minority and in turn vacating his position as chairman on the Committee on Justice. So at this point in time, on behalf of the majority, we would like to elect Congressman Doy Liachon as chairman of the Committee on Justice.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Likewise, Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the majority, for the proportionate share of the Nacionalista Party in the Commission on Appointments, we will likewise elect Congresswoman Aurora Ciriles in place or vice Rodolfo Albano III.
Any
So
objection?
moved.
The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, likewise, Mr. Speaker, at this point in time, I would like to move to finally resolve the issue on the minority leadership, that we close the period of interpellation as regards the speech, privileged speech of the Honorable Miro Kimbo, and proceed to dividing the House on the objection of the majority leader and recognizing Congressman Danilo Suarez as the minority leader.
Any objection?
Mr.
The chair
Speaker.
hears none. The
Mr.
motion is
Speaker.
approved.
We now proceed
Objection, Mr. Speaker.
to the voting, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The
Objection.
chair hears none.
Objection,
The motion is
objection,
approved.
objection. Does not the chair hear that there is objection to the motion?
Mr. Speaker, we
Objection.
are in the process of voting and we cannot be, there can be no disturbance in that process. So we may ask that the Speaker proceed with the ayes and nays on the issue at hand.
I
Those who
concur.
are in
I
favor-
concur with the majority leader. There should be.
Please
For
proceed.
Yes,
Congressman Suarez to be recognized as as minority leader, say aye. Those who are against, say nay. The ayes have it.
We have 1 minute suspension, Mr. Speaker.
Session suspended.
Yeah, I read two. I know, I didn't see a letter. Wala, there's none. I only received two letters.
Only two.
Yeah, can you give me one? Yes, sir.
Session is resumed.
Mr. Speaker, at this point in time, I would like to recognize Attorney Eusebio Lee, Mr. Rock Rubio, and Mr. Jenny Tan, guests of Congressman Manuel Sagarbarria. Mr. Speaker.
The guests of Congressman Segalbaria, please rise.
Mr. Speaker, Mr.
Welcome
Speaker,
to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker,
I move we recognize Congressman Rodolfo Fariñas.
the distinguished Congressman from Ilocos Norte, Congressman Rudy Fariñas, is recognized.
thank you, Majority Leader. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We just voted on a motion of the Majority Leader by ayes and nays. May I know how my vote was recorded, Mr. Speaker?
The vote was simply viva voce.
So how was my vote? Because we did not have a division of the House. We have voted. So may I state, Mr. Speaker, that I am against. My vote is against because I maintain that the Honorable Danny Suarez, so I just congratulated for any reason whatsoever. But I am against the position that he is the minority leader. So may it be recorded that I voted against the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The manifestation of the distinguished Congressman from Ilocos Norte, Congressman Fariñas, is noted.
Mr. Speaker,
Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker.
Let me recognize now Congressman Ed Salagman, please.
the distinguished gentleman from Albay, Congressman Edsel Lagman, is hereby recognized.
likewise, Mr. Speaker, may I know how my vote was recorded?
The vote was viva voce.
Well, if there was a recording of votes, my vote should have been an abstention. Because the recognition of the minority leader is not subject to the approval or disapproval of the plenary. It is composed overwhelmingly of majority members, of minority members, and independents. Under our rules, the majority leader should be voted upon by members of the minority, and the majority leader likewise should be voted upon by members of the majority. It is never subject to the approval or disapproval of the plenary, which is a mixed composition. What we have done was a violation of the rules, Mr. Speaker. I would like to put that on record.
Does the majority leader desires to react on the statement of Congressman Lagman?
Negative, Mr. Speaker. And at this point in time, I would like to recognize Congressman Kimbo, Mr. Speaker.
The manifestation of Congressman Lagman is noted. Congressman Kimbo is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader. While the motion earlier had already been acted upon and the very reason stated by Congressman Edsel Lagman, this representation would like to put on record our continuing objection to the recognition of Congressman Danilo Suarez as the minority leader for simply being illegal, not in due course, and at the same time in direct violation of the Supreme Court decision enunciated on the 25th of July 2017 of the case of Bagilat versus Alvarez. I so make this continuing objection, and that this cloud hanging over all proceedings of the House will continue, and that we will take the necessary recourse where it is needed so as to bring order to this House. We are the same in wanting that everything that we do here is devoid of any legal question. What we witnessed today not only created a legal question, but in fact cemented it. It is regrettable, and let our continuing objection be put on record. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, may I...
Will
Mr.
the
Speaker,
majority leader react to the statement of Congressman Kimbo?
Yes, my reaction is we now recognize Congressman Irice for his manifestation.
Congressman Erice is recognized, but before that, the statement of Congressman Kimbo is noted. Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, may I speak on a matter of personal and collective privilege? Because I'm supposed to be the last interpellator. I was asked yesterday to postpone my interpellation until today, but unfortunately, the period of interpellation was closed, so may I now ask the favor to deliver a personal and collective privilege.
Mr. Speaker,
What's the pleasure of the majority leader?
before the gentleman, Congressman Irice, delivers his privilege speech, may we allow other members who wish to make a manifestation as regards the votation? For if we digress now to his privilege speech, all other members will be prevented from raising the point or the issue which has just the recently concluded
Any objection?
election.
The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
So may we ask now Congressman De Vera be recognized.
Mr. Speaker, may I be recognized? Mr. Speaker, may I proceed?
Congressman De Vera is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader. I object to the election or the recognition of the Honorable Danny Suarez as the Minority Leader. Your Honor, the preamble of our rules is very clear. It is said there in the last sentence that we would faithfully obey these rules. Do you think by having recognized the Honorable Suarez as the minority leader, we have faithfully obeyed the rules? My answer is in the negative, Your Honors. Mr. Speaker, Because by looking plainly and simple on the Section 8 under the Rule 2 of our rules, it is very clear that it governs membership. And you look at Section 3 of our rules, it's very clear that it governs the officers, or how would we deal with the officers of the House of Representatives. Your Honors, it is with sad heart that I have to disagree because the Honorable Suarez is a very good leader during my stint in the House as a member of the minority group under his leadership. But again, rules are rules. And under the preamble, we, the members of the House of Representatives, undertake to faithfully abide or obey with our rules, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I respectfully manifest and politely address this august body that I really object to the recognition of the Honorable Danny Suarez as our minority leader. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority.
Majority Leader,
Now, I move to recognize Congressman Bordado. Mr.
before I recognize Congressman Bordado, the Chair directs that the statement of Congressman De Vera be noted. Congressman Bordado, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I object to the recognition of Congressman Suarez as the minority leader. Mr. Speaker, for the past 5 days or so, I have been listening intently to the steady and at times torrid exchange of erudite ideas on who should be the legitimate minority in the House. Still, Mr. Speaker, the position taken by the highly articulate and intelligent representative from Marikina City, the Honorable Mero Kimbo, stands out for its sheer logic and lucidity. Mr. Speaker, let me reiterate a portion of what the Honorable Kimbo said, and I quote, "We make reference to Rule 2, Section 8 of the Rules of the House of Representatives and the Supreme Court decision GR number 227757 promulgated on July 25, 2017, which states that A, all those who vote for the winning speaker shall belong to the majority, and those who vote for other candidates shall belong to the minority. B, those who abstain from voting shall likewise be considered part of the minority. And C, the minority leader shall be elected by the members of the minority." Unquote. Mr. Speaker, no amount of Olympic record-setting verbal gymnastics can obliterate this very clear pronouncement, not just from Honorable Kimbo, but also from the Supreme Court itself. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The manifestation of Congressman Bordado is noted. Majority Leader.
Yes, before we recognize the last to raise his manifestation, Congressman Casilaw, may we ask that we recognize for 30 seconds, once again, Congressman De Vera.
Congressman De Vera is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader. Just for a 30-second statement, Your Honor, I would like just to manifest before this august body that on August 2, in the morning, in my office, I was elected as the minority leader of the House of Representatives by my following members, and unanimously, Mr. Speaker, Majority Leader, by the following members: Congressman Bebot Alvarez, Congressman Rodolfo Fariñas, Congressman Albano, Congressman Lucy Torres Gomez, Congressman Arnel T., Congressman Rimpi Bondoc, Congressman Eileen Radasa, Congressman Ray Umali, Congressman Roger Mercado, Congressman Munsur del Rosario, Congressman June Papandayan, and Congressman Ruel Gonzaga. Mr. Speaker, Majority Leader, I just wanted to enter into records of this eventuality. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader.
As prayed for by Congressman De Vera, his manifestation is noted.
We now recognize Congressman Casilaw for his manifestation. Mr. Speaker.
Congressman Casilaw is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let it be put in record, since the votation on the motion was made through by a viva voce, be it recorded that the vote of Makabayan, the 7 of us in behalf of Makabayan, not only this representation, is on the negative side. This is the first time in the history of Congress that the plenary, all members, if not all, majority of the present members decided who is the minority leader. Ito po ay salungat sa binuo nating rules. Inaprubahan natin nung unang Monday ng July of 2016. This is not the rules, the intention, and the interpretation of the rules. Mr. Speaker, tila baga, patunay ito na ginagamit na ninyo ng mayoryang ito ang tiraniya ng numero kahit na baluktutin at baluktot ang resulta nito sa ating rules. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The manifestation of Congressman Villarin is noted. Majority Leader.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, at this point in time, we'd like to recognize Congressman Egay Erice.
The distinguished Congressman from Caloocan, Congressman Erice, is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader, distinguished colleagues. I was supposed to interpolate the Senior Deputy Majority Leader yesterday, but I was asked to postpone it until today. However, may I ask the Speaker that I be allowed to deliver a personal and collective privilege regarding the minority leadership issue.
Congressman Erice is recognized to deliver a personal and collective privilege speech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, on the personal and collective privilege delivered by the Senior Deputy Minority Leader, he explained that he is very much concerned about media reports, which affects the integrity and credibility of this honorable chamber as far as the minority leadership dispute is concerned. I'd like to assure not just our Senior Deputy Majority Leader, but the rest of our colleagues, that I share the same concern, as we are all in the same house. Whether in the majority or in the opposition or minority, it is very important that we value the image, the credibility, and the integrity of the House of Representatives. Today, I will not belabor you with questions and explanations and clarifications regarding our House rules. As yesterday, our brilliant colleagues have already explained several rules in our House rules pertaining majority and minority membership and leadership. I also believe that the House rules is not so indispensable, as it is just our creation. to help us conduct our business orderly. But in the case of conflict, what is most important is we do our job of coming up with legislation that will help our people and progress our beloved country. For a legislation to be qualitative, a dedicated, credible, and responsible opposition or minority is necessary. And the primary task and responsibility of the minority or the opposition is to provide a no-nonsense and credible check and balance. We can only protect the image of this House if we can maintain a credible minority and a proactive majority. Our rules can be changed or relaxed anytime if necessary, but quality legislation is essential to maintain the integrity of this House. So, Mr. Speaker, check and balance is an integral part of legislation. And I would like to quote, gusto ko pong basahin ang isang talata na binanggit ng isang pong hinahangaan kong naging Pangulo ng ating bansa, President Diosdado Macapagal. In our action, we should not be guided only by what is legal. We must go beyond legality into the demands of morality. Our acts must not only be legal, but must be moral as well. At this point, my dear colleagues, para po sa inyo, mas malalim nating pagkakaunawa sa moralidad ng ating pinag-uusapan, nais ko pong ipakita sa inyo ang isang maiksing video. Salamat po.
Mr. Speaker, unfortunately,
Majority Leader.
Yes, unfortunately, the video to be presented has not cleared the proper procedure, and we cannot show that video at this point in time, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I submitted the video yesterday and I was told that it was approved.
Majority Leader.
It was not submitted to me, Mr. Speaker, and I have not fully reviewed it. And
okay,
that is the
In view of
situation.
the manifestation of the Majority Leader, the video could not be shown today.
okay, I'll just explain it in my own words.
Proceed, Congressman Irize.
The Honorable Danilo Suarez and I was invited in a program at CNN about a week ago regarding the issue of the minority leadership. He was interviewed first, and I'll just explain to you the portion that I have a video clip. Tinanong po ang ating kagalang-galang na kasamang Danny Suarez. Ang pagkakatanong po sa kanya, how can you claim that you are the minority when you are just 14 while the liberal-led minority group has more than 20? And his reply, there are already 32 members of this House that are applying to be members of the minority. And the question, why is that so? Why not apply to the majority? Why to the minority? And the reply of Congressman Suarez is simple. Because they know that the minority leader is close to the speaker. Yung mismong minority leader ang umamin na kaya maraming gustong sumama sa minority dahil malapit siya sa Speaker. How can you expect a minority leader so close to the Speaker and deliver check and balance in this House? Bakit hindi sa majority? Mas maraming posisyon sa majority. Andiyan na ang napakaraming committee. Ang minority, halos wala. Bakit kailangan? And the reply, again, of Mr. Suarez is simple. Because I want to leave a legacy. I want to retire from this Congress as minority leader. Miss Pinky Webb even replied that, isn't that too personal to be a reason? And Mr. Suarez added, ayokong alisan yung aking opisina kasi ginastusan ko yan. Ang sagot ni Miss Pinky Webb, hindi ba selfish ang ganyang reason? Mr. Speaker, how can we maintain credibility of this House kung ganyan ang mga kadahilanan kung bakit tayo maghahalal ng minority leader? Yan po ang dahilan kung bakit yung majority ngayon inaffirm yung pagkakahalal ng ating minority leader. Subalit, huwag tayong malungkot. Sapagkat kami sa mga tunay na minorya, may posisyon man wala, kahit tanggalin ang mga silya namin dyan, mananatili kaming magpo-provide ng check and balance sa kongresong ito. At we will never be compromised. Ako mismo, naranasan ko yan. At alam nyo yan, wala akong budget ng 2018, pero kaya ako sumama para magkaroon ng pagbabago dito sa mababang kapulungan dahil sa pagtatanggal ng mga budget ng mga congressman na gusto lang magpahayag ng kanilang independence. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, we will remain as minority kahit na wala po kaming mga komite, wala kaming mga pribilehyo, sapagkat yan po ang aming tungkulin. At palagay ko po, yung ginagawa namin ito ang magbibigay ng kredibilidad, integridad sa mababang kapulungan. Maraming salamat po.
Majority Leader.
Congressman Suarez, may we request that Congressman Suarez be recognized.
Congressman Suarez is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader. Tama po yung sinabi ni Congressman Erese. Pero nung sinabi ko po yung kay Pinky, tapos na po yung interview, hindi na ho naka-record yun. Personal po kami nagbibiruan. That's off the record. At sinabi ko po naman talaga sa kanya, pumunta ka sa office ko, tingnan mo doon sa kung ano yung pinagawa ko. I'm proud of that. Ganito ko ho kamahal ang Kongreso. Kung wala na ako dito, yung mag-oopisina nun will always remember me. Walang mali siya. Gusto ko lang hong matulungan itong minamahal nating Kongreso. Ano ang diferensya nun? Ngayon, yung sinabi po ninyo na ang Speaker, ang majority at ako, Mr. Congressman Erese, ang minority po, 80% ng trabaho ng minority ay bantayan ang ginagawa ng Executive Department. Nung ako po ang minority at oversight, ang Kongreso po ay on break. Tuloy-tuloy po ang hearing ng aking committee at ng aking mga kasamahan. Because we must see to it that the expenditures of this government is properly accounted. And that's what we're going to do in the next 2019 budget hearing. Kaya, kung ang samahan po natin dito between the leadership and the minority will be questioned just because of camaraderie, I repeat, and I will be like a broken record. Ang minority, since the time I assumed office, is constructive. Hindi po kami destructive. And with this remaining session in the 17th Congress, halos 3 buwan na lang ho tayo magtatrabaho. Ba't pa ho tayo mag-aaway? Ay napakarami yung importanteng issue na dapat nating gampanan. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Your Honors. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no other interpretation.
Mr. Speaker, just for clarification, because the Congressman Suarez told us that the interview was not live. It's live. I have the records. It's even in the CNN YouTube. You can watch it in the CNN YouTube. Thank you.
Majority Leader.
There being no other interpolator, we have one last interpolator, Mr. Speaker. At this point in time, I'd like to recognize Congressman Marcoleta.
Congressman Marcoleta is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to know if Honorable Erice is in a position to take some clarificatory questions.
Gladly, Mr. Speaker.
Before you proceed, we will hear first the Majority Leader. Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Congressman Erice, Congressman Marcoleta manifested his desire to interpellate Congressman Erice. What's the position of the Majority Leader?
One last interpolator, Mr. Speaker, in the person of Congressman Marcoleta. Then we will terminate the privileged speech of Congressman Erice.
What's your position on the desire of Congressman Marcoleta to interpellate Congressman Erice, distinguished Majority
Yes,
Leader?
as a member, Mr. Speaker, may we allow him a few questions?
Congressman Marcoleta is hereby recognized to interpellate Congressman Erice.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, is it the assumption that in this election of a minority leader, the basis is the assumption that one group is a better fiscalizer?
We have our rules, and you have already discussed that, Mr. Speaker, lengthily yesterday.
The question...
That's why the subject of my personal privilege is not the legal issue, but the morality of allowing someone who is very close to the Speaker, someone who voted and campaigned for the Speaker, to be the minority leader.
That is the reason why I'm asking the question, Mr. Speaker. Is it the assumption that in selecting a minority leader is based on the assumption that one group is a better fiscalizer or perceived to be a better one in being able to fiscalize? Is that the rule, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor?
Well, a better one is after the fact, after the election and after the assumption and after the performance. But what is in the rules is those who voted for the Speaker are members of the majority. And I believe, it's not an assumption, it's my belief that Congressman Suarez is a member of the majority, not only because he voted for the Speaker, he also campaigned for the Speaker, and I believe that the advocacy, he shares the same advocacy as our Speaker.
Since you made reference to Section 8 again, that members who voted for the winning majority, or the winning speaker, shall constitute the majority. May I ask, Mr. Speaker, when we voted for a new speaker 2 weeks ago, how many candidates there were?
There's only one.
There's only one. Thank you very much. When we voted for the speaker 2 years ago, there were how many candidates?
3.
Thank you very much. May I draw your attention first, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, on what happened 2 weeks ago when there was only one single candidate. Strictly speaking, it is not a matter who won the speakership, because in any combat or battle or contest, there should be at least one opponent. Is that not correct, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor?
No, Mr. Speaker, there are elections.
You cannot win, Mr. Speaker, unless there is one opponent.
That's not accurate, Mr. Speaker.
Can you give me an instance, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, where somebody in a contest can win without any opponent?
Well, there are a lot of congressmen who are unopposed in this House.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry, but the question is not being answered. It is very simple. Because the position of this representation, Your Honor, it was not a case of who won, because there is simply a votation of a majority votes. The correct interpretation there was that the new Speaker, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, got majority votes. That's why she replaced the incumbent Speaker. That is as simple as that.
No,
Technically speaking, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, she did not win because she has no opponent whatsoever. It could have been a different matter altogether if there were two candidates who contested the vacancy left by the incumbent. But in this case, Mr. Speaker, there is only one candidate.
There's only one
Pacquiao,
candidate.
Mr. Speaker, Senator Manny Pacquiao could not have won without Lucas Matisse. I cannot imagine any situation, Mr. Speaker, where somebody can win any contest without an opponent. So technically speaking, Your Honor, Speaker Gloria Macapagal Arroyo did not win. She simply got the majority votes and qualified to replace the incumbent. It is as simple as that, Your Honor. So they bank on the word, the winning speaker. Nobody won, Your Honor, because she has to get only the majority votes. It's not a question of winning.
Meaning she was not elected, Mr. Speaker?
She was elected by majority votes. But let us do
How
away...
can she be elected when there's no election?
Let us do away with the operative word. We are so engrossed by the term, the winning speaker, candidate for speaker.
Mr. Speaker,
Let us dissect that very simply.
there was a motion to declare the position vacant. There was a motion to open the period of nomination. There was nomination. There was election. And there was nominal voting. There was election.
That is not the point, Mr. Speaker. I'm asking him, was there another candidate other than Speaker Gloria Macapagal Arroyo? There was none.
There
She
was
is
none.
only
As
one.
many other congressmen, representatives in this House who ran unopposed and won an election unopposed.
Mr. Speaker, that is not the point. We're talking
I
here...
cannot see your point, Mr. Speaker.
I'm sorry if he cannot see the point. The point is very simple. You cannot
Your
win any
point is very
contest.
complicated, Mr. Speaker. It's not simple. So if you will insist on your legalist, as I said earlier, I'm not here to talk about the rules. I'm here to talk about the morality of what we did today.
But you have not even answered the first question.
Actually,
Was it the assumption?
Mr. Speaker, we've
What-
spent 3 hours yesterday talking about the legal...
Was it the assumption of the gentleman, Mr. Speaker, that the selection of a minority leader is based on a perception of morality? That because one group is perceived to be better than the one, that is not the rule, Mr. Speaker. We are all guided by the rules.
The rules are very clear.
Whoever pretends to be on the moral side, that is not the point, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Speaker, I move that we terminate the privileged speech of Congressman Arice and refer it to the Committee on Rules. So moved, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, we now proceed to the unfinished business, and I move that we take up House Bill 7735, an act replacing the quantitative import restrictions on rice with tariffs and creating the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
House Bill number 7735, an act replacing the quantitative import restrictions on rice with tariffs and creating the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund.
Majority Leader.
Yes. Before we, so as to give time to the technical staff, before we proceed, may we recognize the guests of our members, Mr. Chairman.
We'd like to acknowledge the guests of the Honorable Raymond Mendoza, the SNPP leader, samahan na nagkakaisang pamilyang Pantawid, Gina Cotocchio, Annalisa Notorio, Annabel Luna, Nida Corillo, Luisa Villales, Edwin Arcillas, Angela Tubelio, Rosario Reyes, Sara Pacoira, Florence Mendeja, Vina Buenafe, Beth Kapinig, Juliet Logan, Zaria Tana, Nenita Reyes, Perla Adolfo, Myra Paja, Olivia Abalye, and all of their companions in the gallery, Mr. Speaker.
All the guests of Congressman Mendoza is hereby recognized, and all of you are welcome to the House of Representatives.
We'd also like to acknowledge the guests of the Honorable Maria Teresa Colliantes of the 3rd District of Batangas, all of the 44 parent leaders of the Pantawid ng Pamilyang Pilipino programs of the 3rd District who are in the gallery today.
The guest of Congresswoman Colliantes. Welcome to the House of Representatives.
The guests of the Honorable Strike Revilla of the 2nd Legislative District of Cavite. They are the members of the Samahan na Nagkakaisang Pamilya ng Pantawid of the City of Bacoor in the gallery.
Welcome to the House of Representatives.
The guests of the Honorable Tom Villarin, representative of Bayan Party List. His guests from the Samahan na Nagkakaisang Pamilya ng Pantawid who are also in the gallery today.
The guests of Congressman Villarin, welcome to the House of Representatives.
The guests of the Honorable Marvy Marino of the 5th District of Batangas, members of the Samahan na Nagkakaisang Pamilya ng Pantawid, Incorporated of Batangas City, in gallery today.
The guests of Congressman Marino, welcome to the House of Representatives.
The guests of the Honorable Amilda Sangcopan of Anak Mindanao Party List, members of the Samahan na Nagkakaisang Pamilya sa Pantawid, or SNPP, in the gallery today.
The guests of Congresswoman Sangcopan, welcome to the House of Representatives.
The guests of the Honorable Miro Kimbo of the 2nd District of Marikina City, the officers and board of directors of the Kapisanan ng mga Barangay Kagawad or Kabaka from Marikina City, in the gallery today.
The guests of Congressman Kimbo, welcome to the House of Representatives.
Likewise, the beneficiaries of the Pantawid Pampamilyang Pilipino program or 4-piece program of Marikina, guests also of the Honorable Miro Kimbo in the gallery today.
The additional guest recognized of Congressman Kimbo. Welcome to the House of Representatives.
And finally, the grade 12 students from Miriam College with their teacher, Ms. Rizalin S. Camacho, the guests of the Honorable Representative Bolet Banal of the 3rd District of Quezon City.
The guests of Congressman Bolet Banal, students from Miriam College, you are welcome to the House of Representatives.
Motion to suspend, Mr. Speaker.
Session suspended.
Okay na siya? Baretas, okay?
Session is resumed.
Mr. Speaker, our parliamentary status is we are in consideration for second reading. The House Bill 7735 contained in Committee Report 739. I move that we open the period of committee amendments. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, there being no committee amendments, I move that we close the period of committee amendments. So
Any
move, Mr. Speaker.
objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of individual amendments. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Representative Panganiban, the sponsor of the bill. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor is ready to accept individual amendments, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Edsel Lagman of the 6th District of Albay for his amendments. So
The
moved.
distinguished congressman from Albay, Congressman Edsel Lagman, is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unless there are anterior amendments to page 3, I have an amendment on page 3. Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor, the amendment to the Charter of the National Food Authority, NFA, could not be effected in the rice tariffication bill because it will violate the constitutional prohibition that no bill should have more than one subject matter. In other words, Mr. Speaker, the amendment to the NFA Charter should be made through a separate bill. Accordingly, Section 6 of the bill, lines 40 to 50 on page 3, and lines 1 to 8 on page 4 should be deleted. I hereby move accordingly.
What's the response of the sponsor?
Mr. Speaker, as elucidated by the good gentleman from Albay, I accept the proposed amendments, Mr. Speaker.
Proposed amendment is accepted.
Thank you, distinguished sponsor. Now, on page 4, lines 36 to 41, the following is provided, and I quote verbatim. Quote, any order issued by the President adjusting the applied tariff rates shall take effect 15 days after publication. In the event of any imminent or forecasted shortage or such other situation requiring government intervention, the President is empowered for a limited period of time and or a specified volume to allow the importation of rice at a lower applied tariff rate to address the situation. Such order shall take effect immediately and may be issued even when Congress is in session. Semicolon, unquote. Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor, the limited period of time provided for in the bill should be amended to read as follows. Quote, for a limited period of time not exceeding 2 months unless extended by the Congress. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
What's the response of the sponsor?
I accept the proposed amendments, Mr. Speaker.
The proposed amendment is accepted.
Thank you, distinguished sponsor. And the praise, quote, and or a specified volume, unquote, should be amended to read as follows. And or a specified volume not exceeding 50,000 metric tons unless increased by the Congress. Unquote.
Mr. Speaker, I accept the proposed amendment of the gentleman from Albay.
On the part of the House, any objection? There being none, the motion is, the amendment is accepted.
On page 8, Mr. Speaker, line 16, before the phrase, quote, fund releases, unquote, provide the following. The proceeds from the rice fund shall automatically be appropriated and periodically released by the DBM to the DA in order to sustain the program on rice sufficiency and enhance the small farmers' self-reliance, period, unquote. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Sponsor,
Mr. Speaker, I accept the proposed amendment.
on the part of the House, any objection? There being none, the amendment is accepted.
Be it on record, Mr. Speaker, distinguished sponsor, in answer to your query, with this amendment, the proceeds from the rice fund will not anymore be incorporated in the General Appropriations Act because it is automatically appropriated. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, distinguished sponsor.
Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, for his individual amendments, I move that we recognize the Honorable Carlos Uybarreta of iCare Party List. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, will the distinguished sponsor still allow additional amendments to the
Carlos Uybarreta is recognized.
I gladly accept any proposed amendments from Representative Ibarreta, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, distinguished sponsor, Mr. Speaker. On page 9, line 35, this representation proposed and moved that a new paragraph D be inserted to read as follows. Open and close parenthesis D, establishment of manufacturing plants for farms, equipment, comma, and providing subsidies thereof. Will the distinguished sponsor accept such amendments?
What is the response of the distinguished sponsor?
I accept the proposed amendments, Mr. Speaker.
On the part of the House, any objection? There being none, the amendment is accepted.
With the acceptance of the distinguished sponsor of the said amendments, I also move that correspondingly the other subparagraph be rearranged and be marked accordingly. So the previous paragraph D will now be E, and the previous paragraph E will be F, and so forth, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Sponsor?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I accept the proposed amendment.
Any objection? On the part of the House, there being no objection, the amendment is accepted.
Mr. Speaker, will the distinguished sponsor will be amenable to a new section 16 or section 18 on page 9, line 14, to read as follows. Section 16, implementing rules and regulation. Within 30 days from the effectivity of this act, the Department of Agriculture, Department of Finance, DBM, shall formulate and implement the implementing rules and regulation. Will the distinguished sponsor accept such amendment?
On the part of the House, any objection? There being none, the proposed amendment is accepted.
Mr. Speaker, with the acceptance of the said amendments, the old section 18 should be marked and adjusted and numbered accordingly. Likewise, section 19, the old section 19 and section 20.
What does the distinguished sponsor say?
I accept the proposed amendment and the arrangement of the numbering, Mr. Speaker.
On the part of the House, any objection? There being none, the proposed amendment is accepted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, distinguished sponsor.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no other individual amendments, I move that we close the period of individual amendments. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hearing none, the motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we vote on second reading, House Bill number...
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker,
Congressman Tino is recognized.
do we have a quorum? Do we have a quorum?
Session
We are
suspended.
about to vote on a very important bill.
hindi tumutunog yun. Pag ako lang sana majority leader, kakausapin kita, hindi ako eh. Kailangan na natin ito.
Medyo konting ano lang.
Session is resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Tino.
Congressman Antonio Tino is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For now, I would like to withdraw my question regarding the quorum, seeing as I am now seeing members coming back to the floor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend consideration of House Bill number 7735 on second reading. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider on second reading House Bill number 7773, and may we ask the Secretary General to read the title of the bill. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
House Bill 7773, an act institutionalizing the Pantawid Pamilyang Filipino program to reduce poverty and promote human capital development, providing funds therefor.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Raymond Mendoza of Party List TCP for his sponsorship speech. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Congressman Mendoza, the distinguished sponsor of the measure, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. At magandang hapon din po sa 4-piece beneficiaries in this chamber, most especially the 639 parent leaders of the SNPP, Samahan na Nagkaisang Pamilyang Pantawid. Mr. Speaker, today I come before you and our esteemed colleagues to address one of the country's pervasive problems, one which continues to plague many of our constituents, and that is abject poverty. Here's the profile of a typical Filipino household. Uneducated, has no source of income, walang trabaho, walang negosyo. May 4 na anak, buntis pa yung asawa, pregnant with a baby, and hope that it will be their youngest. They squat in a self-made shanty, squatter, where they have no access to clean or potable water. They survive on a sporadic sources of income, such as assistance in building construction and doing laundry for some middle-class families. Having 3 meals a day, Mr. Speaker, is a rare experience. And the children feel blessed if they can get to eat instant noodles. While education is free in public schools, children do not attend classes. They are obliged to find ways to augment the income of their parents. So they roam around the streets and beg for coins from the bystanders, and some of them want to help them, or some of them would just say, just get rid of them. Mr. Speaker, when you have almost 1/4 of the country's population, Philippine Statistics Authority, 2016, this year, 2015 rather, we have 21.6 poverty incidents. This is not surprising that the next generation will be hit by this, and who will likely be multiply their numbers and will end up the same as their parents, if not worse, in dire conditions. Mr. Speaker, the state has a moral obligation to do something and to reduce the number of citizens who will continue to live in a cycle of intergenerational poverty. The government has aggressively acted to ensure that the children of these indigent families grow up healthy and educated. Then perhaps they have a better fighting chance of becoming self-sustaining and productive citizens. So this is what institutionalizing, making it into a law, 4 Ps is all about. Let us stop the transfer of poverty to the next generation. That is why substitute bill number 7773 or 773 seeks to make the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program a regular program of government to help 60% of total number of extremely poor households in this country. That is why 773, House Bill 773, seeks to address the many issues surrounding 4 Ps, the centerpiece of the government's social protection efforts for the past decade. Mr. Speaker, House Bill 7773 seeks to, number 1, correct double entries, data errors to delay cash releases, and prevent occurrence of unpaid beneficiaries. Number 2, remedy deficiencies in the basic services for children for both education and health, and to ensure that remain healthy and that they stay in school. Number 3, involve the private sector and civil society organizations in monitoring the implementation of the program and providing feedback for proper action. And lastly, number 4, strengthen the mechanism of accountability and of transparency by requiring DSWD to post on the website a report of financial disclosures, information about the beneficiaries, and to submit the same to Congress. While we recognize that the 4 Ps alone cannot guarantee alleviation from poverty of our children, we still believe that in the convergence with other social protection programs, particularly on health, education, housing, and livelihood, 4 Ps should be implemented until the poor are able to stand on their own. Kaya po, pantawid. The World Economic Forum Executive Chairman Klaus Schwab asserted, the key to the future of any country lies on the talent, skills, capacities of its people. Ang kabataan ang pag-asa sa ating bayan. So finally, Mr. Chairman, or Mr. Speaker, as Chairman of the Committee of Poverty Alleviation, I therefore call upon the honorable members of the august body to unanimously push for the passage of this piece of legislation with one mind and one heart. Let us give the next generation of marginalized Filipinos a fighting chance. Daghang salamat. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, for her interpellation.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Congressman Tom Villarin would like also to deliver his sponsorship speech. Tom Villarin of Akbayan Party List.
What do you say, Madam Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Tom Villarin for his sponsorship speech. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Congressman Villarin is hereby recognized to deliver his sponsorship speech.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader. Kagalang-galang na mga kinatawan dito sa mababang kapulungan, mga parent leaders na nandito sa ngayon, magandang gabi. Nitong nakaraang Mayo, naglabas po ng datos ang World Bank tungkol sa poverty rate o bahagdan ng kahirapan sa buong Pilipinas. Tinalakay po nila kung ano na ang naging resulta dun sa tinatawag nating mga poverty reduction programs. Ayon sa kanila, nabawasan ang kahirapan mula 26.6% noong 2006 hanggang 21.6% noong 2015. 5% po ang binaba. Maliit kung tutuusin, pero para sa isang pamilyang Pilipino, katumbas nito ang pag-ahon sa kahirapan at bagong simula tungo sa pag-unlad at para na rin sa ikabubuti ng kanilang mga anak na siyang maging susunod na henerasyon. Isa sa mga di umano'y naging dahilan kung bakit nabawasan ang kahirapan ay ang conditional cash transfer na mas kilala natin bilang Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program or 4Ps. Ayon din sa ilang mga pag-aaral, tinagurian ang 4Ps bilang isa sa mga pinakamainam na targeted social safety nets sa buong mundo dahil pinapanatili ng 4Ps ang tuloy-tuloy na pagpapaaral at pagpapagamot sa ating mga anak at sa ating mga nanay. Mismo sa kadahilanang ito, narito tayo ngayon upang isulong ang pagsasabatas ng Pantawid Pamilya Pilipino Program or 4Ps. Layunin ho natin dito sa pagsasabatas na hindi pwedeng maging bigla-bigla na lamang na itong 4Ps na may 4.5 million Filipino households ang nakinabang ay biglang itigil na lang dahil sa iba't ibang kadahilanan. Kaya ninanais natin na maglagay ng sunset provision para dito sa 4Ps program. Kasama po ang akbayan, sinikap ng komite sa pamumuno ni Congressman Raymond Mendoza na gawing batas at isa-institutionalize ang 4Ps para kahit na sino ang maupo, hindi maapektuhan ang ayuda at serbisyo para sa pamilyang Pilipino. Ang panawagan ko lamang sa mga kagalang-galang kong kasamahan sa bulwagang ito, ipasa na po natin ito. Katibayan po ito na epektibo ang 4Ps na sa masusing pagpapalawak nito sa ilalim ng nakaraang administrasyon at sa pagpapatuloy dito sa kasalukuyang administrasyon na mabuting hangarin na isang programang sinisimula ng walang iba kundi ang ating kasalukuyang Speaker GMA. Higit sa lahat, wala nang mas mainam pang patunay sa kabutihang dulot nito kaysa sa testimonya ng napakaraming pamilyang Pantawid na kasama natin ngayon. Karamihan po nandito sa ating gallery upang tunghayan ang makasaysayang pagkakataong ito. Alam ho natin na ang 4Ps, conditional cash transfer, ay hindi ho yan kapalit doon sa mga mahalagang sinasabi nating livelihoods, mahalagang programa pa ng ating gobyerno. Ang halaga ho sa 4Ps, napakaliit po lamang yan kung tutuusin doon sa pangangailangan ng isang household. So, with the 4Ps, ang importante ho na dito, tinitingnan ho natin ito na investment, no, for a generation of our Filipino families na finally they can break the cycle of poverty. Kaya again, with this representation, we are moving for the immediate passage of the institutionalization of the 4Ps measure. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, at this point in time, we'd like to
Majority Leader.
move to suspend consideration of House Bill 7773.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, at this point in time, I'd like to resume consideration of House Bill 6574. Excuse me, Mr. Speaker. Resume consideration of House Bill 7735 and recognize Congressman Panganiban as sponsor.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Likewise, Speaker, I'd like to move that we vote on second reading House Bill 7735 and we direct the Secretary General to read the said bill.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the bill.
House Bill 7735, an act replacing the quantitative import restrictions on rice with tariffs and creating the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund.
Those who are in favor of House Bill number 7735, say aye.
Aye.
Those who are against, say nay. The ayes have it. House Bill number 7735 is approved on second reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, We'd like to consider on second reading the House Bill 7652, and may we request the Secretary General to read the name of the title of the bill. So move, Mr. Speaker.
House Bill 7652, an act requiring public telecommunications entities to provide nationwide mobile number portability to subscribers.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Victor Yap of the 2nd District of Tarlac for his sponsorship speech. So move, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Victor Yap is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, it is an honor, a distinguished honor to be sponsoring this House Bill 7652, which basically is a consumer welfare bill that allows people to transfer their personal numbers between telco providers. It is for this purpose that I move to dispense with the reading of my sponsorship speech, and I move, Mr. Chairman, that this be read into the records, Mr. Speaker. I move, Mr. Speaker, that...
Majority Leader.
Motion to suspend, Mr. Speaker.
Motion suspended. Session suspended. Session resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we enter the sponsorship, the explanatory note or sponsorship speech of the Honorable Yap into the record. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend consideration of House Bill number 7652. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we include additional co-authors to House Bill number 7773 as contained in the list to be submitted by the Committee on Rules.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we are in receipt of the Bicameral Conference Committee report on the disagreeing votes on House Bill number 6203, converting the Sorsogon State College in the province of Sorsogon into a state university. Mr. Speaker, in accordance with our rules, I move that we ratify the said Bicameral Conference Committee report. So move, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we approve Journal number 6, dated August 1st, 2018. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Motion to suspend, Mr. Speaker.
Session suspended.
pang botohan? Wala. Merong isa pang bukas na lang daw, sabi niya. After Arlene, si Arlene sign up. I put you in the list.
Majority Leader, session resumed.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider on second reading House Bill number 6770. And may we direct the Secretary General to read the title of the bill. So move, Mr.
Any
Speaker.
objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
House Bill 6770, an act increasing the service incentive leave of employees, amending for the purpose Article 95 of Presidential Decree number 442 as amended, otherwise known as the Labor Code of the Philippines.
Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Randolph Ting of the 3rd District of Cagayan for his sponsorship speech. So move, Mr. Speaker.
the distinguished Congressman from Cagayan, Congressman Randolph Ting, is hereby recognized.
Mr. Speaker, please allow us to let the explanatory note to be the sponsorship speech. Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move that we allow the explanatory note of the Honorable Ting to be entered into the records as a sponsorship speech. So move, Mr. Speaker.
any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, there being no interpollators, I move that we close the period of sponsorship and debate for House Bill 6770.
any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend consideration of House Bill number 6770. So move, Mr.
any
Speaker.
objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader,
Motion to suspend.
session suspended.
Tapos na. Okay na. Ano mo? Wala naman yata.
Senior deputy na.
Session is resumed. Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider bills under the calendar of business for Thursday and Friday. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to our rules, allow me to put forth an omnibus motion for the consideration of the following. House Bill number 7477 under Committee Report 688, House Bill 7478 under Committee Report 689, House Bill 7480 under Committee Report 691, House Bill 7481 under Committee Report 692, House Bill 7482 under Committee Report 693, House Bill 7486 under Committee Report 697, House Bill 7487 under Committee Report 698, House Bill 7488 under Committee Report 699, House Bill 7489 under Committee Report 700, House Bill number 7499 under Committee Report 710, House Bill 7717 under Committee Report 736, House Bill number 7761 under Committee Report 748, House Bill number 7779 under Committee Report 761. House Bill number 7780 under Committee Report 762. House Bill number 7781 under Committee Report 763. House Bill number 7784 under Committee Report 764. House Bill number 7801 under Committee Report 768. House Bill number 7103 under Committee Report 774. So moved. Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Those who are in favor of the approval of the 18 aforementioned bills, say aye. Those who are against, say nay. The ayes have it.
Motion to suspend.
Session is suspended.
Okay.
Session resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we adjourn session until tomorrow, Wednesday, August 8 at 3 p.m. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.